I just feel like I have no charm, and no one likes me. It may not be reasonable, but it's not impossible, right? This is where the third type of rebuttal comes in. The third type is practical rebuttal. Simply put, you have to ask, what's the use of me thinking this way? I keep thinking that I have no charm and no one likes me. Besides making me continue to stay at home, what's the use of this thinking? If this way of thinking is useless, what is a more useful idea? For myself, I prefer this practical type of rebuttal, which is simple and direct, and doesn't make me go around in circles in complex logic. However, most people are not accustomed to thinking in terms of useful or useless, and their thinking is often influenced by three types of erroneous tendencies. I have summarized these erroneous tendencies into three categories. The first tendency is to believe that there is a so-called factual truth, a correct understanding, in this world. Actually, I used to think this way too, but now I don't anymore. For things like do I have charm, or does anyone like me, there is no such thing as truth. Investigating such truths is meaningless. The second tendency is to believe that what one thinks is the factual truth, and rarely accommodates other possibilities. I know my own business. If you think this way, you will find it difficult to change. The third tendency is that we know our own thoughts are irrational, but they feel good and exciting, so we just want to think that way. For example, I just want to think of her as a bad person, otherwise I can't relieve my hatred. I just want to think of myself as very bad, just want to feel depressed. Regarding this, I think sometimes, we do need to express our emotions reasonably, express our disappointment, frustration, and anger. But if we let our emotions take our thoughts away, we give up the responsibility of controlling our thoughts and being a rational person. The practical rebuttal I just mentioned is different from these three erroneous tendencies. It focuses not on truth, but on the function of thinking. Do you remember when we first talked about mindset and personal growth, we mentioned the concept of sweat eyes? We said that the most important function of mindset is to see if it generates positive emotions and effective actions. If we can control our thoughts, we can also control our emotions and actions. So, for a thought, we need to ask ourselves, what kind of emotions will this thought trigger in me? Are these the emotions I want? What kind of actions will it trigger in me? Are these the actions I want? Will thinking this way make me better or worse? This is a practical way of thinking. In the gym, if you want to train your chest or abs, the coach will tell you to do it like 1, 2, 3, 4. Arguing with oneself is actually a similar brain training. To do this brain training, we cannot blame ourselves for having these defensive thoughts. When practicing this self-argumentation, sometimes visitors will say, "Look how stupid I am, I can't even understand this simple truth." If so, this itself becomes a defensive thought that needs to be rebutted. It is normal to have these defensive thoughts, but the key is that you cannot let them destroy your emotions and actions. One of my visitors told me after learning self-argumentation, "It seems like there are two of me in my mind. One is emotional, like a child who needs care, constantly saying, 'Just accept it, no one likes you.' The other is rational, like an adult, constantly saying, 'This is nothing, it's not a big deal, don't stop trying because of this small thing.' The emotional me speaks loudly, but the rational me only has a small voice that needs to be listened to carefully." I told him that both the emotional and rational sides are him, but also not him. He is another person, the judge. Now, it's up to him to decide which side to stand on. So, if you are the judge, which side will you stand on? To summarize, in this lesson, we talked about 3 techniques for arguing with oneself: empirical rebuttal, logical rebuttal, and practical rebuttal. I hope you can use these brain training tools well to constantly break through your defensive thoughts. Starting from the next lesson, we will spend 3 lessons sharing more thinking tools with you to help you develop a more growth-oriented mindset.